Welcome to Cracking Up a Cold One. I'm John.
I'm Albert.
And I'm Richard, and today's topic is college worth the investment? What do you guys think? Is it worth the investment?
I think it depends on the person or what your aspirations are. Because for me, I have to actually get a degree in finance so I could become a investment banker. So I think it depends on what you want to do. But ultimately, it depends on the person. So
I feel like if you truly believe it's gonna help you in accomplishing what you want to do, then it is. Like for me, I like cinematography a lot, But I already told myself like for me that's all self-taught. Like there's no way I'm gonna go to school like to learn that,
Now, there are some theories that you need though, right? Like you can't just pick up a camera and you're Michael Bay over here with this.
Everything's on YouTube though, dude. Everything.
Not everything though.
Like, okay, give me an
the
example.
majority of things are on YouTube.
Like for sound, learning the aperture of a camera, everything, bro. From lighting to grip, everything.
You can't just do editing by yourself either, though. I mean,
there's so many tutorials. Like in class, they don't even teach you the editing.
All right, let's say it like this. Though.
This
like
is, for example,
John's example though, because he wants to do finance, so you can't just go on Google and look up finance. You could learn a lot of like concepts and stuff, but you can't learn every single thing. So I feel like you do kind of, like he said, you need it for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man.
I feel like at the same time, like for John, he needs that paper that says, "Oh, I graduated,"
Yeah, it's just showing that you went through the courses.
Because at the same time, there could be other people that also want to go into the same field and don't have that college degree, but are a lot more knowledgeable in the subject than John.
Well, obviously, experience beats the paper.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the paper overall, it's
like for example now, like big companies like Google, for computer science majors, they started doing a thing where you don't have to be a college graduate to even apply and be considered for a job now, as long as you know all your computer science skills.
Well, where was that? I heard about that too.
There's an article about
overseas, right? Like people, they don't even
in the Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
recently.
It's not just.
I think it's probably
like
people that are self-taught,
mm-hmm.
like that can actually show what they.
But that has to do with just cutting costs, though, doesn't it? Like they don't want to just.
No, because they'll get paid the same thing. Because the way it works, because some of my coworkers back in school, they've been applying for like computer science, what's it called, jobs, and the way I've seen that it works is that you apply for it, they look at your resume. And after that, if they like your resume and they like what you see or what they see, then they make you do a test, a coding test to make sure you're actually knowledgeable. Then after that, it could be different levels, different variations of tests, but you're just going round through round. And then interview, you do a phone interview, maybe a Skype interview, and then maybe like a person interview.
I feel that.
Well, in school you go over theory, but what really matters is the practice. If you have practice and you know how to do things, that's what's going to get you through.
I think it ultimately depends, man, because I feel like I think it's worth it. For me, it's been specific. I'm getting a little taste of everything when I go to my school. When I go to do my major in specific, I'm going to be like learning little tiny things of everything. But, dude, I be having teachers that don't even teach me anything, bro. I can't even understand my teachers sometimes, man.
Yeah, honestly, that's just like per institution, but every institution has like some of those teachers.
That's like in every field. There's like always those people that are just there for the paycheck. They're not even there because they like the thing that they're doing.
Oh, he could be liking it too, but maybe he's been doing it for so long that he's like been losing his patience or something. I don't know.
He has no patience, bro.
Yeah, see, there you go.
But dude, I mean, if you're not teaching it, if the students feel like they're not learning anything,
everyone like we have a group text in the class, and everyone's like roasting on this dude because he comes into class and he has his paycheck. He's making like $132K per his year, whatever semester it is he's getting, and he walks up in there, he's flaming everyone, bro, for not knowing it. Like he expects us to like walk in there knowing everything already.
Well, at that point, you can't really do anything about it. You just have to get through the class, and there you just have to like grind out harder.
Then again, in college, it's pretty much self-taught at the same time too.
That's the whole point of not having to self-teach yourself, is to go there till you can learn. Then you go home and you practice those.
Most of my classes are self-taught. Like my corporate finance class, the one you said, like that professor sounds pretty dope. That's self-taught. All he goes about in lecture, he just discusses his own version of the notes, more like like real stuff, like what would go on in the real world instead of just like theory.
But I'm pretty sure he's going over the theory too. Like if you have a formula, I'm pretty sure he's going over a formula.
He doesn't go over
how to do
formulas.
it. He doesn't teach you how
He
to do
doesn't.
that?
He doesn't go over the math or anything.
So then
He will until like maybe a week or half a week before the midterm.
But then when you take the midterm, is that like a big part of the midterm?
It's a big
Or
part
is that
because he
like-
tells you what exactly is to be on the midterm. He tells you what exactly you have to know. And if you're confused with something, then you could go into his office hours. And if you can't make his office hours, then you set a schedule with him to meet.
So is it worth it? You think it's worth it?
I think it's worth it. It makes you actually read the book, because I know how many students in college actually read the book. No one.
Not a lot.
And then it actually makes me go on YouTube, search up how to do it. I mean,
But isn't
Well,
that the point? Isn't that
obviously,
the point
if it
of
interests
going
you,
to-
you're gonna be looking up.
That's
like-
the whole
It-
point
it-
of going to college. So you don't have to be doing that though. So what's the point of going to
I
college?
mean, it's
so you
just
can-
to
so a
expand your
prof-
knowledge, though. It's
but
not
at the same
meaning
time, the
to-
professor, I mean, we meet with him 2 times a week for an hour and 15 minutes. How much can he possibly go over?
Not a lot, but exactly like I feel like what professors should be doing. You go to class, and you obviously have like read maybe like the past lecture notes or went over them or whatever. Expect to know what you're gonna get into for that class, and then when you're in the class, he'll go over the hardest topics, the hardest formulas, whatever people are having trouble with. I feel like that's what he should already be going.
I mean, obviously, if people honestly have trouble with the formulas and stuff, they'll raise their hand and ask. I mean, if they're not that shy, but most of the formulas are pretty straightforward if you do them a couple of times too.
Yeah, but like you can't just expect to like give somebody a piece of paper with like an income statement or a balance sheet and expect them to know how to do all these ratios or expect them to know how to do everything already. Like that's what the professor is there.
Okay,
to
at the
do.
same time, for that class, it's expected that we know how to do all that from like the lower div classes. That's why he doesn't go over a lot of the stuff too.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're like the lower div classes, then yeah, they'd be going in more detail of how to do every exact thing.
but there's a lot of things that you're supposed to be in class learning, bro. It's not like you're gonna be transferring that over to like that class, because then that's pointless. You're just taking a refresher at that point. So like, there's an opportunity cost to like what you're doing. Like, is it really worth it? Because like, I feel like I pretty much taught myself everything from the last class that I'm taking right now, the finance class. I pretty much taught myself, but I feel like it's like a waste of time if I'm just gonna be teaching myself and then having to show up to his class for points, because I can fail the class for not showing up.
I think one thing we can all agree on is that GE is pointless, basically.
General education.
Yeah, like the
To a
first
point.
two
To
years
a
that
point.
that are spent on GE. Like I'm taking all my
Yeah.
GE right now, and I don't feel like I'm all there. Like I'm just.
And but also at the same
Same.
time, you took them because you thought they were easy classes at the same time.
Well, they are, but it's just like I already went through it in high school, and it's just like basically review, and I don't want to do that anymore. So,
So what, like a third of
Well,
college?
Well, but
is
also,
just-
also one thing people should take into consideration, like if they think college is good for them or not, is
I
to
think they should
determine.
already have a set path already. Like they have to know what they're in for.
Well, not exactly, because I know a lot of people that don't have that, and they kind of discover that like the first, second year that they're there.
But
'Cause,
then
like-
again, you're gonna be spending all this money just to
Okay,
find
that's
yourself.
where I was going to. That's where I was going to. But if you decide to go to college and you're someone that won't take on too much debt, like your debt will be very low, then I think you should just do it. Even if it's just for the experience, because at least you'll get networking and you'll see what you like and what you don't like.
I
Yeah, in
I
a
know
sense,
people.
yeah.
I know people that like to do what they do. For example, the guy who owns a sneaker shop, he dropped out of college. He didn't even drop out of college, bro. He didn't even try. He didn't even graduate high school, and he always dealt with like the market in sneakers. And then boom, he's pretty successful now. As a 27-year-old, for having what he has, he's pretty successful. Do you think it would have been worth it for him to go to college? Probably not.
For him,
Well,
probably no.
It sounds like to me that he already had a set plan.
Of what
Like,
he
he
wanted to
already
do.
knew
So you
what
think
he
it's
wanted to
only,
do.
but like, okay, so then let's just say people already have a set plan for what they want to do, but do you think it's still worth it for them to want to take
It depends
on
what that thing is, though.
So it just depends on that person to person.
But it also depends, because, like, for example, if you went to sneaker shop, like, for example, you wanted to have a company that's dedicated to sneakers, right?
Mhm.
Who knows if he could have learned other, I guess, skills or knowledge going into college that could have already had him, like, as a nationwide type of brand at this point,
Makes sense, yeah.
instead of just having one shop in one town,
That's true.
you know?
What about for something different though? Like what about? I feel like that's one thing because that's kind of an entrepreneur type thing. But what if it was more like what John said? He needs to do it just for that piece of paper, just to like pretty much. It's kind of like a stamp saying I know what I'm doing. Give me like a loan or give me like something that I need to start off with.
Well, if it's, for example, like for engineers or something that have to show
Like that
a degree,
too.
like come on, you have to go. And afterwards, if you get a job, the pay is usually really good too. So even if you go in like some debt with that, you'll be good. If you make college worth your time too, if you put your all into it.
Yeah.
And I'll just half-ass through it.
A lot of it too is like you said earlier, networking. I feel like you just meet so many people. Like in class, you'll just walk into a room full of 70 people, and you just meet it. You don't really have to meet anybody at all. You can just be quiet, sit in the back, sit in the front, wherever you want to sit. You don't have to talk to anybody. And I feel like networking is like a really big thing. Like especially like face-to-face networking rather than just like a LinkedIn or like Instagram.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a big stigma like with college people that you have to finish in 4 years. Like if you don't finish in 4 years, like for example, you're labeled as lazy or maybe like someone that doesn't really know what they're doing. But I know a lot of people, some that I actually look up to, that take a semester off, taking a whole year off to do an entire internship, and after that internship they come back and they have experience in that work field that they want to go into, and then so because of that they have to take another additional year. But after that 5th year, they basically already have a job, or even if they don't have the job, they at least have a lot of experience with a prestigious company.
That's true.
Okay. What if they did that like without that experience? So would that even have been possible? Because there's already kids having like their internships as juniors. Some do, or like as a senior, they'll hop into like the college career fairs. They'll come to school, pick up a bunch of seniors, pick up a bunch of juniors, and they don't need that extra year for experience. Like that's
there's some that don't, and there's some that do, because some internships actually require that you go there 40 hours a week. And most of those are paid internships.
Yeah.
There's not really credit. You don't get any credit for like school or stuff. It's just you take time off school and you go there to work for them as an engineer, basically.
As a paid internship?
It's a paid internship.
Well, then that's like, I guess that's another way to network in school though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would just matter from person to person. But honestly, sometimes, man, I just feel like just gotta build up enough revenue, like enough capital really, and just you could start something up. Yeah, like
because school is not cheap, especially like
it's not cheap, bro.
Especially if you're doing it by yourself, like it's not.
And then if you want to go into a private school, good luck paying that debt.
Good luck getting in. Right? He's talking about, bro.
I mean, yeah, but once getting in, bro, you got that debt.
Yeah, man. So, if there's any other things you guys want to add on to it, whether it's worth it or not, drop that down below. Or if you're listening on Spotify
or Apple,
wherever you're on.
Wait, list it. What were you on right now? List it.
Right now we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and a couple other podcast platforms.
Well, we'll just have it all linked, but down below.
We'll list them down
just so y'all don't have to keep replaying this part of the video.
Don't sleep on us, y'all.
Nah, but other than that, if you guys don't have anything else to say, it's a wrap.
Deuces.